Oh, we rise, we unite, from the mountains to the sea, warriors for the love, you and me. We are the new tribe of the earth, connecting our spirits, remembering our worth.
Welcome, Making America Sacred again. I'm delighted to have our dear friend, Peacemaker, Mel Standing Eagle, and have him come on. And he's representing us today with the Rainbow Warriors and explaining the prophecy as we are delving into walking the path of the sacred. So thank you again, Mel, for joining me. I'm so excited. I've been listening about this prophecy for seems like 13 years. And so, to actually see all these things happen and come into culminate and whatever the words are, it's pretty uh
Amazing, awesome, and about 100 other words that we need to use to define that.
Yes, exactly. So to just jump right in, I know so many people have heard of this prophecy, but I would love for you to give the little bit of background of how you found yourself in this position and what the prophecy is.
Well, first of all, I'm the son of a hellfire, brimstone Southern Baptist evangelist. My dad was an Army chaplain. He was from Maryland. And I am a Heinz 57. My grandfather on my dad's side was a full-blooded German Jew. He married a full-blooded, red-headed Irish Catholic and converted to Christianity and wrote tracts for the American Bible Society. My mother's side was Native American and English. And my grandmother was dark-skinned, so is my grandfather. And we weren't allowed to talk about our Native American heritage because down here, that was worse than being, back in the day, black.
Mm.
And the blacks had rights before the Native Americans did here. So I grew up not knowing anything about my Native American heritage. And I went to a Christian university, and I never got questions that I sought answered because what I read, what I heard my dad, and we butted heads because what I read and how he looked at it, it just didn't give me the balance and that place in heart that I needed. I believed, but there was something that wasn't quite there. So some 47 years ago, I met my wife, and she is Native American. She's a mud puppy. And with her, I started going to powwows. And that was a whole new experience for me because that just was not part of my culture. And there at the first powwow, my wife had friends that I didn't know about, of course. And there was this gentleman named Mr. Dan Brokenfeather. He was Cree, and he was married to a lady down here. He was born on the res. And I had interest in talking to him. I was a cigar and a pipe smoker at the time, and I saw a pipe, and I'm like, hey, that'd be cool. So when he told me the price, it wasn't quite so cool. So I went on around about my business. And needless to say, my wife had seen me over there talking to him and not knowing that his wife, they were good friends from the old days. So my wife asked him, was Mel bothering you? And he said, Mel? She says, yeah, my husband. And he says, go get him, go get him. So next thing you know, I'm back over there to the booth. And because we had sparked an interest, there was an energy there, that frequency that you feel between that kinship. So we started having conversation, and he pulled the pipe out and he handed me this little pipe. And I said, sir, I can't afford it. And he said, how much money you got in your pocket? Oh, Lord. I pulled out and I had like $45. And he says, today I'm going to take 20.
Oh, that's a good trade.
As we say down south, thank you, Jesus. you know? So then we got together. There wasn't a stem for it. And so he started teaching me the way and about the pipe, the chanupa, and how to handle and the symbolism thereof. And he gave me a piece of limb that I have over here in my bundle, and it was crooked. And I looked at it and I'm like, how am I supposed to make a stem out of this? He
Yeah.
said, you prepare it. Just prepare it. So I took my knife and I started skinning it down and then started sanding it. And my wife asked me, she says, you've been sanding on that thing for 2 days. When is it done? I said, when it tells me it's done.
Yeah, that's kind of how it works, isn't it?
So the stem is crooked. And he told me that is to always remind me that there was only one that was perfect, and that was Creator. And being a Southern boy and being a little cocky, uh, there was quite some lessons there. So I started going to ceremonies and sweat lodges and things like that and learning a little bit more about the culture. And as I did, I started finding balance in my life and embracing. And I didn't see it as something that took away from the Christian religion that I was raised in, but it gave me a broader understanding of what it meant to be, because there's so many words lost in translation from Aramaic to English, and we could talk an hour on that.
Yeah.
But with that being said, there was so many things that was interpreted or misinterpreted to make you pay your taxes, to make you go to war. Wait a minute. Isn't that something about governments and how they control people? Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
So all that was written into the scriptures. And there was things in there that my college professors had problems answering for me.
Yeah, good to question everything. That's how I was raised.
And so I ended up telling the college professor, for example, there's a scripture and I ask them, do Christians sin? And they say, everyone sins because everyone comes short of the glory of God. And I'm like, wait a minute. Then either you're wrong or this book is written wrong. So in First John, not St. John, it says a Christian cannot sin because they're born of God.
Mm,
Well, what it really should have said in translation, because I got little, I get a little left brain sometimes and I want to know things.
yeah,
So what it should have said is that one does not continuously dwell in this because they're born of God. That makes more sense to me.
yeah,
Give unto Caesar that which is Caesar and pay taxes. Well, we know that was written in because King James wrote his cousin Margaret a letter about these things, and they're in the Museum of England. But yet, people got blinders on and they don't look at the broader picture to get a fuller understanding of these things. So in the Red Road, I started finding this balance, and I was able to bring more harmony to it and more harmony with nature.
mm,
So that's the very beginning, and being involved with events and all. They was having some elections, tribal elections, and there was an older elder that I thought the world of, and we down south everybody's a Bubba, and we called him Bubba.
yeah.
And so I was able to nominate, and I nominated Bubba, and Bubba stopped it right there, and he said, I go to dialysis 3 times a week, and it tears me down. And he said, I cannot do that at this time in my life. And he says, I nominate Mel. And I said, I don't know anything about it. Next thing I know, Shadowhawk said, I second the nomination. And there was a vote. And all of a sudden, wait a minute, I just got elected as a peace chief. how does this work? You know?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Chief Louis Chavis feathered me in August of 2009, and that began my journey. So I continued doing powwows, and I have an AV business. So I was doing sound for the state government powwows that we had back in the day, which they don't do any longer.
Mm.
And so that was my emergence into the culture through the powwow system. So then I started going to minority affairs, all this weaves, and I found out that some of the most racist people in the world are in minority affairs. South Carolina has 20 some employees in minority affairs. They have a token Asian. They have a
Mm.
token Hispanic. Guess who else they have a token of?
I'm sure. Yeah.
And then everyone else is of the darker persuasion. So when things happen, they don't want anything to do with Native Americans. And as I said, Native American people have been fighting for their rights for many years. And all the way up to this year, Native Americans in this state has been denied. The Lower Cherokee had been denied being recognized as a tribe. And if you remember riding the old highways before the interstate, you're not old enough to remember that, but the state highways, the routes had historical landmarker signs, which I
Yeah.
know you've seen those. And here is signs here, there, and yonder telling about the Cherokee Trail in this group. But yet, Minority Affairs would never approve them, even though they provided all the documentation and everything they needed. And the director at that time said, "We don't need any more Native Americans. Oh, it's another bother for you guys because it interferes with the teat money you guys are collecting." So we challenged them and made some accusations, and they ended up in front of government oversight in 2017. And when that happened, I was there, and some of the chiefs testified, and we testified about events and how they were mishandled and how things were not being done for the Native Americans. Right now, they still can't tell me study statistics on health or work or education or any of those things.
Mm.
Versus on the reservations, they can tell you those that were vax, non-vax, how many, the percentage of cancer increase rates, and everything else relating to that. And
Right.
this information should be made available to us, and it wasn't. So we won. And a couple more things involved in fighting for rights here. I got involved in several other groups. And next thing I know, I was speaking at Star Knowledge in South Dakota in 2023. And the grandmothers heard me.
Oh.
And the grandmothers, one of them being Dr. Robert Ghostwood's widow.
Mm.
Next thing I know, I got me some 80-some-year-old stalkers.
What a great answer. Those are my favorite.
And they really smart too. You gotta love them, you know?
Yeah.
So Ghostwood's widow wanted to know where I got the information on things that I was talking about. And I said, I don't know, it just comes to me. And she started explaining to me the things that I was saying was in the very last book that Ghostwood was writing,
Mm.
just finished when he got hit by lightning.
Powerful. We did talk about how the Mayan had said that when you're struck by lightning, that's like a divine, like you've been enlightened.
Well, honey, that's a whole nother subject too, because Daniel Brinkley, who is a distant relative of mine, probably the most famous NDE, wrote Saved by the Light and Peace of the Light. Daniel got hit by lightning twice, and he was clinically dead.
Wow.
Well, like my cousin Daniel, I too got hit by lightning twice. The last time was at a wedding in front of a bunch of witnesses. And I don't remember anything. I was told I was a zombie from what I was told for about a week.
Wow.
You know, so I wasn't quite as bad as Daniel, so they didn't kill my butt.
Yeah, that's wild. Yes.
So the grandmothers and I started having conversations, and man, it's amazing what you can find on Google and everywhere else. And they knew my life history. They knew my work that I did with the government back in the old days and all of that stuff. So we've started having regular conversations, and there was also Annie Whitehawk and grandmother Mildred. She was the widow of prophecy keeper Emery from out at Hope de Villa. And so in between, mostly my conversations was grandmother Shoshana and weekly with grandmother Annie Whitehall. And Annie happened to be an editor for the Associated Press. Creator's got a sense of humor how all this just weaves together.
Serendipity.
Shoshana ran rehabilitation programs. She was the largest bead supplier in the United States for a few years. Surprised that all the beadwork that everybody and different, she was the biggest importer.
Yeah.
So, and we had mutual friends, but had never met each other. And like Rick Shawnee, which I had talked about, his mother was like a mother to grandmother Shoshana. And so when we started, all of it just started coming together. And the next thing I know, they're talking to me about prophecies and things that Wolf wrote about. And because I couldn't go out there and they were in a few different places, they shipped me a box, and my receiving that box, I believe you saw the video maybe that's on YouTube.
I
And
didn't.
I feel so inadequate because I'm what they refer to as Matei, and it's pronounced in different ways. Down south, I was being introduced, and somebody just read the words, and they said, and here's Chief Mel, who is Metis. And for those that don't know, what that means is that I am of mixed ancestry and of mixed blood. I'm partially European and partially Native American, and I find out that my Native American heritage, I'm of many tribes. And I was invited. So after speaking there, the grandmothers told me I had to write my story, and I did, and the grandmothers edited it. They titled my book. The eagle that's on the front of my book was designed, gifted, and licensed to represent me. Everything has been totally magic, to the drum behind me from the Navajo Code Talkers to the other drum from the grandfather Yellow Horseman, and I got them lined up down this wall as well. And
Wow.
my whole life, things have come to me, and I'm like, hey, that's really cool. I got this. You know how Southern boys are. We got a little.
It's exciting.
Well, it is. But see, it was some years before I started understanding the word gratitude and,
Mm,
and becoming more respectful and being able to look back at the coincidences. Well, I believe in them, but I've never seen one. So when it happens so many times, it's not a coincidence anymore.
yes. Yeah.
It's past that sign. It's another burning bush. It's another, uh, biblical time. Nowadays, it might be a song on the radio, or somebody's wearing a T-shirt with your message on it, or some on the billboard. They're always there. So these
Yeah.
synchronicities, once you start understanding and seeing those, then everything starts coming together.
Yep.
So Dr. Robert Ghostwolf passed, and I was chosen to carry the sacred bundle that was carried by Ghostwolf. This bundle is believed to be of Hopi Mayan origins.
Mm,
He was a shaman in every sense of the word. He was an archaeologist. He was a scholar, and he was brilliant. And I feel so inadequate in his footsteps that I was chosen, but I am so honored. And you and I had conversation earlier about talks about the Rainbow Warriors and that it came from a Native American, and I'm like, well, I know what Native American it came from because it's written in Ghost Wolf's books.
yeah.
And the prophecies came from both the Hopi and from the Sioux. I never sought to be a Rainbow Warrior Peace Chief. Just a
Right.
little peace chief here in South Carolina, and Creator does have a sense of humor. And my chief here uses the word fate, that my entire life has been fate. Every time
Mm,
I step into something, it leads and opens the door to the next thing. And we all grow as we open our eyes. And when you see it, the world is such beauty and such magnificence. I'm like, Creator, why did I have to get this friggin' old before I could start seeing these things? You know?
right. Yeah.
That's the coolest in the world.
Yeah.
So anyhow, I received the bundle. I'm doing ceremonies. I'm doing tribal reunifications. Um, and next thing I know, I receive a phone call and said, Sasha Stone would like to speak with you. I heard the name, but I really didn't know who he was. And then I look him up and I find he's got like 5 Facebook pages. He's got 80 something thousand followers and 60 something thousand. And then I started looking, and the programs that he's doing across the world with First Nations in Africa and helping them become independent and growing hemp and crops and independence, making the farmers
Beautiful.
successful.
Yeah.
You know,
Really. Yeah.
he's changing the world. So I was asked to come to Tanasi to do ceremony, and there I met Hopi Messenger Bertram, and I received the Hopi Service Award, which I'm most honored. Purple has always been a service color cord, and
Mm,
this arrow was made from the Grand Canyon, and this means more to me than any congressional medal or anything else
I can
anyone.
imagine.
So there I met him. I met Chief Sabrina Whitehorse, and we had people from all over the world that was coming on closed circuit TV, kings, presidents,
Wow.
ambassadors, the big kahuna from Hawaii, Chief Phil Lane, and who is the world hereditary chief for the World Hereditary Council. And next thing I know, here's this peace chief doing ceremony, and they referred to me there as a bridge of races and a bridge of nations. And I'm like,
Beautiful.
what? How do you? They said, you're able to talk and blend with people everywhere, and you have a heart that is open to that. So I spoke and I did the closing ceremony for the event, and that video is also up on YouTube. And it was just the little last 9 minutes closing it out worldwide. The fire ceremony and all that. This was a few days ceremony, but I did ceremony at each of the places. The altar there, I set up the altar with the Hopi bundle that I carry. They flew
Wow.
in Crazy Horse. They flew in Crazy Horse's bundle. It was placed on the altar. Then the World Hereditary pipe was flown in, and it was placed on the altar. So it was just a magical event, and this was by the World Hereditary, and it was listed as the emergence of the Rainbow Warriors.
That's it.
So I met some wonderful people. Scotty, the Patriot Street Fighter, who's also Cherokee. I met General Baker, who is Algonquin, and I mean, it was just totally amazing. It wasn't till after that, and I'm gonna go back to Ghost Wolf in a moment.
Mhm.
I wanted to know why me, and I was top codex guys that's worked doing government work and everything. They dug my ancestry. As I said to start off with, I'm a Heinz 57.
That's a
I'm not in the Native American world too.
yeah,
Let me tell you,
the rainbow.
the rainbow. And this I wear with honor. This was gifted by one of the tribal friends here for me to go when I went down to do ceremony in Florida and speak at the conference there last month or in October.
Oh, beautiful.
And it like the tapestry of how this is woven together. You know, it's magical, and
Very.
and when you see these things, it helps heal and brings your spirit together. You know, that oneness. And so it's been nothing but a total progression from that point on with our work and what we're doing, working with tribes, now bringing state tribes out because too often they've been left behind. They were
Yeah.
the bottom of the barrel. They did not get versus the federal tribes.
Yeah.
They got casino money, and I know Ronald Reagan was trying to do good because he knew that he wanted the Native Americans to be paid off for all the treaties and everything that got screwed over. For those that
Yeah.
don't know, so Ronald Reagan
Both ways.
figured the best way to get them money was to license casinos for the tribes, which has turned around and generated hundreds of millions of dollars.
Billions. Yeah.
There's a point of saturation. But what I have seen is it's turned people into a bunch of alcoholics, drug addicts, cigarette smokers, and everything else. And I had a guy reaching out to me a couple months ago who's from an Alabama tribe and they get casino money. And he wanted me to go fight for him to get his $150,000 a year. And I'm like, I don't get anything. I
Yeah.
don't like casinos. I'm glad that they're helping some of the senior citizens.
Yeah.
Sadly, the youth, they've lost the way of the ancestors. And so these are things that we're working to get back to. So
Right.
I want to get into very quickly the prophecies, and they're not very long.
Okay.
And Ghost Wolf was known for these prophecies. And the Hopi prophecy says that when the earth is dying, there shall arise a new tribe of all colors and all creeds. And this tribe shall be called the warriors of the rainbow, and it will put its faith in action and not words. The Sioux prophecy is also very similar to that, and their prophecy is that there will come a time that when the earth is sick and the animals and the plants begin to die, and the Indians will regain their spirit and gather people of all nations, colors, and beliefs to join together in the fight to save the earth, the Rainbow Warriors. So, coincidences?
No, it's beautiful. Cool.
Synchronicities.
Yeah.
Synchronicities. And so, with that, and learning about the codexes,
Wait,
they
before you go into that, let's break down what a codex is.
a codex is when they run charts on a situation, a person's life, or something or another. It outlines the details and how it ties in to various things, such as in our world, in this case, prophecies.
Uh-huh.
So,
Lineages.
lineage. So
Mm.
they was able to trace my lineage to multi-tribes, but they traced me back to 1592 to Chief Japasal. And Chief Japasal had a very famous daughter who died in 1692 in England. She was known as the Bridge of Nations. The moment that I read that, I was in awe, amazed, stunned, and then I had to call up and I said, I need to ask you about this. They knew my bloodline when I was chosen, and I was told I had been selected and vetted before they ever contacted me. So I'm up here doing stuff, and y'all know more about me than I knew about me.
Living your purpose. How divine.
So my 11th great grandmother was this one that everybody called a princess.
Yeah.
She,
I think we all know who she is, but continue. I like the
she was married to Cocoon, and he died in battle, from my understanding. And she got traded to the English to make peace amongst the people. And her name was Pocahontas. Deep breath on that one.
I know.
He had a daughter named Keoki, and I am of the Keoki lineage. And Keoki was known as the daughter of the flame.
Mm.
So I am of the daughter of the flame prophecy from the Palawilmac, the Powhatan, the Macpony. Our family traveled up and down the eastern seaboard and intermarried with the Creek and various other tribes here, the Cherokee. So I'm tied into the Appalachian and all of those. My family came up from the coastal area in Savannah in 1751 to our area. And I am a descendant of Talitha, and there is a township about 15, 18 miles from me that is named after her. So our family has made a serious mark on
Yeah.
history that's not taught in school. So
Yeah.
then with the codex and me receiving the chanupa that came from Ghost Wolf that was used by the prophecy keepers, used at Ghost Dance, and every major chief in the Midwest, from Chief Mad Dog of the Cherokee On, did ceremony with this bundle that I am blessed to carry.
Wow.
Um, and so the prophecies talks of a time and those coming from the east, and he wrote about them in a few of his books. He wrote Days of Destiny. He wrote Through the Eyes of the Shaman. He wrote Last Cry. And in those books, it talks about the things that we're now living. And it amazes me that someone who passed on the winter solstice, another magical thing, he passed on the winter solstice, and I received that sacred bundle on the summer solstice.
Yes.
And
Divine timing.
it wasn't planned. The grandmothers didn't plan it. It happened that way. Normally we would not have videoed, but because of the grandmothers in various places and grandmother Mildred and them, they don't have electricity or running water.
Mm.
They live as the ancients, and I have to admire and appreciate them for sticking to the beliefs.
Yeah.
And so I videoed opening the box with all the sacred items from Ghost Wolf. Everything from his passport on was sent to me. Things from the Wolf Lodge. And she sent me one love letter that I cannot share, but she wanted me to be able to know the essence of what was between them.
That's beautiful.
And we've had some conversations, and I try to be respectful, but one night, normally I'm on my back porch, and I have a set of speakers, and I have Ghost Wolf's little rubber dinosaur sitting on one of my speakers, and it was on his desk, I found out. And when he'd leave his desk, he'd go put it on the dash of his truck. Haven't figured out the significance. He hadn't told me that one yet.
That's
But
beautiful.
anyhow, it was there. So I'm having a video call with her one night, and here is the dinosaur right there behind me. And she said something, and out of nowhere, I just said something smart to her. I mean, it just, bam, it came out. And I said, Shoshana, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to say that. She says, hush, hush, hush. She says, Wolf's over your left shoulder. That's his exact words.
It's interesting how that works, isn't it?
Over and over, we see these things happening. So into my bloodline, then I want to get further into some other things. Into my
Yeah.
bloodline is woven the great peacemaker, the tree of peace, the eagle upon the tree, and they've written into the codexes, or the codexes was written, and it pulls me up as the sentinel with the tree of the peace and the rainbow children.
Yes.
And in the rainbow children, it is all races, all creeds together, working together as one. So Creator has got a sense of humor, because I just soon knocked the crap out of somebody that got in my way as anything. I'm out in the middle, but I'm a Southern scrapper. So Creator
Yeah.
says you can't be bad anymore, but you can. The only thing you can do is hold the line and be a warrior.
Yes.
So that's kind of the way all of this has come together for my life, and I'm still amazed. I walked around laughing after I first read this stuff for probably a week and a half or 2 weeks because I'm like, this is crazy. This can't be. Oh, whoa. Sometimes stuff comes at you that is so overwhelming. It's like creator slapping your face 2 or 3 times and says, "Have I got your attention yet?" you
That's
know?
on our when I was interviewing Glenn, who wrote the book Original Politics, Making America Sacred Again. We talked about, how to know when you're, in connection with creator or, walking your purpose. And it was like it will keep pestering you, for you to accept if it's a big one like this, you're gonna definitely like you can't walk away from it. It will,
And as a result, and I want to talk about sacred and breath and a few of those things because I know you want to go there. But
yeah,
as a result, I am now working and hearing from groups literally all over the globe. I had a war chief call me up, and I'm talking to people down under. And he says, I am a war chief, but my people are your people.
that's beautiful.
Then I hear from grandmothers in New Zealand, in Ireland, and then my publisher called me and she says Queen by Ambi from the Congo would like to meet with you. And I'm like, what can I,
Yeah.
what,
It's
who,
yeah,
I'm just a little valley boy that grew up in a neighborhood that's still trying to figure out, and I'm learning sacred ways every day.
it's beautiful, isn't it?
But keeping our focus on those things sacred, that word keeps coming back. When we keep it keeps us on our path, and regardless of how all that's probably not the correct word, that something may seem to be, that there is a purpose in some little instant or something that you've done in that moment changes someone's life forever. And I wrote about that in my book. There was a guy that I met, and I'll just share this. And his name was Melvin. And he was going through pure hell at his job with the school system. And I met him in passing and had a few words of encouragement. And then one other time I ran into him at the school I was there, and it was there for somebody else. And he ran into me, and we talked a little bit more. And then I never heard from him. So 10 or 12 years later, Mercedes pulls up in front of my little computer shop. This well-dressed guy gets out, and he comes in, and he introduced himself. Well, he went back and finished his schooling, became a full teacher, started writing music and doing music, and became quite successful.
Wow.
So he asked me to hold out my hand. At that time, I was needing this server over here that I do my video editing with.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't have the money to buy one. I'm running a little repair shop trying to survive. I just lost a government contract. I was the guy that exposed the hard drives coming out of the nuclear power plants going to China and stuff. That was my name in all the newspapers in 60 Minutes in 2020 and all of that stuff. So we've all of, every
Yeah.
little thing
Both
has a purpose. Yeah. And so he asked me to hold my hand out, and he says, "I want you to repeat something after me." And I'm looking at him like, "What?" So he said, "I freely accept this. I owe nothing. I expect nothing. Thank you." And when he opened his hand, I had $2,000 in my hand.
Wow.
got to take a breath on something another like that, to know that in your time of need of what you was trying to create, I mean, that comes under manifestation. That's something else we need to talk
We-
about.
It's weird how it all
Sacred.
comes
It's a
together, doesn't it?
sacred order. It's a sacred order. And when you're able to see these things, you
Yeah,
walk in that magic. And when you walk and you see it, it just lets you marvel and it lets you know I'm on the right path. I'm where I'm supposed to be. All
take the
days
lead.
aren't wonderful. Some days are hell and hard to get out of bed.
Yeah,
But those moments, knowing that it changed his entire world in passing, never thought another thing past it. You
yeah,
know, he was just some guy. And, working with Daniel Brinkley and doing hospice and VAs all over the country, I've met thousands, tens of thousands, probably a few 100,000 people over the years.
yeah,
Uh, but to know that some little conversation created a spark within somebody, it opened up that sacredness that
yeah.
lit that flame.
You planted the seed,
It
or
was
you watered the seed. You enlightened the seed. You nurtured it. I love it. Yes. And the irony too of him sharing your name even, and when we look at our existence, it's like uh know thyself, and the experiences we have are, teachers present themselves as we're ready, and then as we continue to grow, and the irony of like how the ripple, it reverberated back to you even, you know so it's beautiful.
in every aspect of what you just described. It's a ripple effect. It's a frequency. It is an energy, and
Hmm.
uh, it takes me back to kind of a biblical saying: "As you give, so shall you receive."
Yeah,
Also, there's something else that you should put in that equation, because everything is energy, right? So
yeah.
positive, negative. Your heart, it takes what, 40 milliamps to make your heart beat and keep your blood circulating, and you're breathing in the air. You're charging electrons, and you're positive and negative, and you're letting go. When you start looking at the synchronicity of that and knowing that we're spiritual beings and that frequency resonates, and
Hmm.
that conversation that I have with you or somebody else hears that one line, that power that came through, it brings a flow, it brings a synchronicity once again into that I mean, it just we
It is very mystical, the great mystery, isn't it?
the great
But
spirit, of
yeah.
course, it's mystery,
You
you
know
know.
what I love from all of it is this has all been culminating, right? And I'll mention how if you Google some of these prophecies, you'll find it tries to disempower or uh, disregard the real potency of what these natives have told us all around the globe. And so then when going through, it's just a blind faith of just trusting that you will be taken care of and just continue to walk that red road, and not even, just knowing that again you'll have a teacher present when you're ready, and being open to receive that, and then to see all this chaos going on in the world, and how even like a good thing we have that thread that keeps us weaved in as this wholeness. But even myself, it's like it's hard not to get in fear in these circumstances when there's so much chaos in the world. But where I've found some beauty in it is, one, meeting you and hearing how this is all unfolding, of course, and then two, recognizing like through these chaotic situations, like our children, that like the telepathy tapes, have you heard of that? Amazing. People who haven't even considered telepathy as a real thing are now believing it because they've seen, although these kids have been injured and nonverbal, they're able to communicate, and how magical we are. So it's that where I have that blind faith or that trust, and then again having this conversation with you, I'm like, oh Lord, It is. Creator, thank you for, bringing you on my path. There's I have
But
lots of time, so
if I may, but tying that in there, the thing is, the government's is one energy, and we need to turn off the nightly news. I mean, I
thank
listen
you.
to the weather, and I try to pick, but if I'm watching the news, I don't trust our news. I don't trust the BBC or Russia, but I want to know what Russia's got to say. I want to know what they got to say and what these people got to say over here. And it lets discernment take over
Thank
instead.
you.
But the balance of this and what they don't want and why they call it conspiracy.
I know. Why are they downplaying? I
How
love
many of the
that.
Hopi prophecies have happened?
I know exactly.
Documented, happened
We,
over and over and over again.
what a divine time we've chosen to be in this existence, right?
And for me to be on the front line and see people from around the world, I felt, as I said in the beginning, I felt so inadequate because I
Mhm.
wasn't properly trained. I don't speak a native language, and that troubled me. And here in the East and the South, 90, I'll say 95% of the native tribes don't have a language. They
Yeah,
don't know their language
been lost in
because
time.
it was all lost in time, especially with the Trail of Tears and all of that happened, and with that we're reconnecting with Creator. As one. We're finding ourselves on that sacred path once again, and we're starting to see those things within our life. And when you do, the beauty and the magnificence of it, that something so magnificent could be happening.
Divine. Yes.
Divine, divine. Well,
Yeah.
that was kind of a word. I did a talk the other week, and a group called We're the Medicine,
Mm-hmm.
and my topic was called the Divine Prescription,
Ooh, I like it.
and that was tying in the things that relate to sacredness, breath, truth, and these are the things that you have been digging out in the book and looking
Yeah.
for each of the people in each of their fields to bring forward, and the synchronicities of these, that this is where you wanted to go. And I was just talking about that in the last couple of weeks to a group, and
Yeah.
and honestly, I don't prepare my speeches. I have ideas of thought, and I might jot down on a piece of paper a half a dozen words.
Yeah.
And then when I get to wherever I'm going, I do my sage. I light my tobacco, give my offering and my gratitude for Creator to let me be here to experience, to learn. Because
Mm.
every time I walk out there and every time I see joy and everything in the people and how it touches them and those that it motivates. And it's like when we pray, and like in the medicine and the other groups that I'm involved in, our words are very, very powerful, and the frequencies that come from our words resonates, and it goes on and on and on. Trees communicate with one another. Everybody made fun of hippies and tree huggers. Well,
They're talking
guess
to us
what?
too.
They might not at that time understood the science. However, trees communicate. They can prove it electronically now with
Fine.
sensors that one tree will talk to another tree through its roots. When one tree is dying, it sends to the other plants, it feeds them. It's part of a system, and a tree realizes its own cycle. Plants, flowers, they all communicate. I don't quite, maybe this is the southern boy in me, I don't quite understand vegetarians.
Well, I'm part of
They
the North,
don't want to do,
so I have a hard one
but
with that too.
I'm a meat eater, I'm a carnivore. And,
Yes.
and I give thanks for that, and I leave spirit plates.
Yes.
I leave spirit plates.
Well, you teach.
But when I think about that, the plants also have life and they communicate and give energy. Am I doing more harm eating this versus eating that? And it's all, these are all, all this stuff's
I,
going to my head.
yes.
And I'm
Well,
like,
let's back up. Yeah, tell us what the spirit plate is for those who don't know.
spirit plate, every meal that we have, we take a pinch of everything and we put it on a plate or on a napkin. I can be at a restaurant and I'll take it outside and I'll place it by a tree. It will feed birds, it may feed the ants, and it is giving back thanks to Creator, and that's all that's living on this earth.
All
It's
spirit.
honoring the sacredness
Yes.
within.
I love it. It's like, tell me how you be sacred, but this is all. It's a way of living, right? A daily practice and ritual.
It is. It's sacredness. If you start looking at the definition from the uh, Christian tradition, it would be that which is holy. Okay, sacredness in the Native American world has to do with honor. It has to do with respect. It has to do with paying attention to Creator, paying attention to everything that is living and what we do, and honoring that, respecting all that is living. This goes way beyond religions, way beyond any of their practices or any of the little things they doing in the churches and all of that. This is about living in balance with nature. Our rivers, our mountains, sacred sites, burial sites, all of these things are part of sacredness. Relationships, the respect between you and your loved ones. There is a sacredness and honor that is within that and given that. Indigenous people, I don't care where they're at in the world, it is part of their system. It is part of their daily life. And that's the key, the daily life. They still got that focus. They still got that communication, and they're not too busy drugged out because they don't have to work or do anything anymore. I don't want to think about retiring or any of that because I everybody I see that's retiring and all, they're dying off, beyond the great experiment of 2020, which that's another whole conversation,
Right. I know. Yes.
you know, but uh, to be able to be active and know that you're making that difference, that was sacredness that happened in his life. It was life changing. So in sacredness, I always talk about breath, and it's something that Daniel and I have always worked on, and the importance of breath. You're one breath away from knowing all about the other side.
Yeah, that's one way to look at it. That's definitely
One
powerful.
breath away from
Wow.
knowing all about the other side. Breath has been used throughout all time. Warriors have forever. The sumos, all the different groups, the guys with their swords, they took their breath from down deep. Okay. The Apaches running across the desert from one to the other, running. What did they use? They used a short breath that helped keep them cool, that they was able to go and run longer and longer and longer, that ordinarily someone wouldn't do because they're too panicked, too stressed, not thinking. And so that is very important. So when you understand how important
Mm.
breath is, then you add your intention with that breath. That is an energy, that is a frequency, and our forefathers, our ancestors may not have described. We're in different times, and we look at things and how we express ourselves
Mm.
is differently than then. But it's the same thing no matter how you define it, the breath and the intention when you take that breath, what you radiate, that is your prayer.
Word.
So you need healing. You focus on yourself and you focus on where and see and what tools that I need to help me with that. What herbs do I need to cleanse? All
Mm.
that is part of between sacredness, your prayer, and your breath.
Why
All
is it so hard sometimes to breathe? uh,
so when I mentioned the divine prescription, the divine prescription is not possible unless you walk in truth. Plain and simple. You must know your truth. You must honor it. That comes back to sacred, that comes back to respect. This is all woven in so tight, no matter what part of the world you come from. When you know your truth, you're able to describe the action of that truth in your life, what it does for you. And then with that, you're describing the results of that. And results equal what? Manifestation.
yes. Yes. Your
They did
intent.
a study. They did a study in the VA, and they found that people that were prayed over, no matter what religion, healed quicker, used less medication. Oh, more cost effective for the VA.
I got lots of prayers.
And see, people miss this, and this is magic.
I
This is
know.
magical when you understand it. You can marvel in it and be thankful and give gratitude.
It
You know,
is. It is very beautiful and divine. It's the, being able to see the signs and everything helps us to, remember that we're walking in that path. And that's where we get distracted with the clocking in, clocking out. And when you just take the leap and you have the faith, it's amazing how Creator always provides for us.
that's right. That's right. So I always tell everybody, don't quit. When I was young, I had a gentleman tell me that anybody could quit because I was down about what I was doing and, in self pity.
Hmm.
And I turned around and looked at him and I said, my name's not anybody. Scrap on, keep on doing it, fight. And when
Yes,
you do it, you can be thankful. You can be in that state of gratitude.
that
And,
fire.
and there's your healing.
Yeah.
And as you heal, that frequency helps what? Every other living around you. All. We're the stewards of the earth. And everything between here must go through here. Thought without heart and heart without creator, it's all systematic.
Mhm.
It's like planting a garden, a seed. And I talked about that the other week. The cycle of the seed
Uh-huh.
from the time of planting as it prepares in the soil and then it grows, then the state of harvest, then you go through what? A calming, a wait, a stillness. And while you're doing the winter and all, what
Hmm.
is that seed doing in itself? It's material and it's preparing for the next plant.
Mustering up.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing. I love these seeds. Ooh, give me chills.
Well, I mean, walking, nobody promised us it would be easy.
Mm,
But when we are able to visualize, we're able to see with that breath, that sacred breath, and you visualize it, you will find a way to get things done. Not because you're smarter than the next person, because I'm not, but because I believed, I opened my heart, and I knew that if I'm supposed to be there, and it's not always on my time either, you know, darn it, I wanted that done yesterday.
I know how it goes. It's an odd one. Divine
Yeah.
time.
And that's it. And being able to walk in that sacred path and to be able to look at those things and know those things and understand that everything around us has a sacredness to it if we're open to see it. Not just some little, I go down Sunday morning or Wednesday night to a church service and I did my sacred moments. You are walking in a state of sacredness.
It's empowering, isn't it? It's when you're in flow with, nature. I recognize that, or, like this, even the series, it's the goodness of it. I've been empowered to, make these connections and to be able to, do it without this like exhaustion. And it's so that's where it's like recognizing, like you said, the energy and frequency and all the vibrations and how it those are our signs, huh?
It is, and it's all around us. And the prophecies of Hopis, and I wanted to pull that one up. This was there was a couple of things. The Hopi said, "A people without faith in themselves cannot survive."
Yeah.
I want you to think about this. A prayer is you speaking your thought, your feeling into existence. In my book, I make reference to a farming community and I give the details in the research. And they found that farmers that prayed over their crops, as crazy as people may say this sounds, but this is data is there. The fields that they prayed over was more abundant. Not that they used any fertilizers or anything different than any of the other fields, but they were more abundant. They yielded a better quality crop and they generated more income for those tribal people. Now you think about that. Prayer over plants, praying for your flowers, praying about your trees. That should be part of our daily life, part of our thought, part of everything that we do. And when we do that, we're able to walk in magic. We're able to walk in truth. And we're able to manifest. And in our world, manifestation is when our inner world and our outer world becomes in balance because there is a spiritual connection with nature. And we've danced all around that with the trees and everything else that we've been talking about this evening. There is a magical quality to that, for the lack of better words. But when we're able to see that and know that we can walk in that, we become a beacon for everything around us. And there's some people that you see and they just radiate, and you like, I want to be around them. I want to talk to them. I want
Yes, they're attracting, they are welcoming, and yes.
so that energy comes from people, not because they're better than you, not because they got something you, well, maybe they do got something that you don't have because they got heart.
To share,
And
yeah, a piece of them that imbued on us, lightens us more. Yeah. These are beautiful words. I'm so grateful I've been able to connect with you. And it's just like I mentioned before we came on live, it's just reassuring. It gives, it's that confirmation that just keep walking the red road, even as wild it is out there right now, that through this is our opportunity to remember and to become one again and to walk and choose to walk. That was always where I'm struggling, is the walking in two worlds. I just want to hang out over here, obviously. But
It is a lot more fun over here,
yeah,
but here again,
bringing it
for us,
all together. So it's one, it's my wholeness of not compartmentalizing myself to, all these labels, but more just this is my wholeness. So thank you for being part of this journey with me. I want to make sure I didn't miss any of these important things because okay, man, all of this is just so juicy and goodness. So let's see, coming together as Rainbow Warriors. Coming together as a Rainbow Warriors. So how do we get a hold of you? How do we follow you? I know you said you have some events coming up, and that's where elders from around the world are coming together to help us live out these prophecies and continue planting seeds. So please share so we know how we can continue to learn from you too.
there's various groups that are now working together, and I'm joining more groups. I'm in like four or five. I'm in like 4 or 5 grandmother
Keeping
groups.
you busy.
And when I got invited to grandmother groups, I'm like, excuse me, I'm not Melanie, you know? And they're like, you're you're our chief.
I love it.
You need to be in this group. So you can find me on Facebook. The grandmothers, I had a regular page under my birth name, but the grandmothers said I had to have a page to identify who I am and what I represent on behalf of them. So on Facebook, Chief Mel Standing Eagle PC. I post daily. You will find my videos there. You'll find links to my videos on YouTube, and my website is lightstreamers.com, LIGHTSTREAMERS. And when we founded Light Streamers, I co-founded it with Lisa Vanderboom. She was with the Institute of Noetic Science.
Right.
And we literally stretched out in floor with notebooks, Webster's Dictionary, looking at various definitions of words. And that's how Lightstream came into existence.
I
And it
love
was
that
all
that
about
book.
energy, all about frequency. And creators got a sense of humor because it all is so woven together. So, but Facebook, I'm there daily, unless I'm on the road. There's an event coming up in June. I've got other events at different places and don't have my calendar in front of me.
No worry, we'll follow you.
There's an event coming up in Illinois, and the main for the public, I think, is the 26th through the 28th. I will be there 4 or 5 days earlier, as leaders are coming in from around the world. So Rainbow Warriors is not something just here in America. It
No,
is
it's
in
amazing.
countries that you would not think that existed. I was asked if I would consider coming to Germany to
Wow.
do a healing of the atrocities done by Adolf Hitler. And I said, why me? And they said, you have German ancestry. Grandfather was a German Jew that fled.
It's amazing when we do go into our heritage and lineage and figure out I actually was doing this last night and going further, further, further. We're all related, by the way. Did you know that?
I
They
heard we came from food.
it is pretty impressive to kind of see how it all ties in, but man, and that's what's so beautiful about we are all I was also reading the stories and how they call us mixed breeds and everything, and what an honor to carry that innate wisdom within us, and we just need these seeds to awaken that, and it's like such a blessing when you feel it, and then it takes a lot of faith to know.
And that is a very powerful word, because when the grandmothers titled my book "A Life Most Magical," and the subtitle of it was the only place that I had a sticking point, and it word got changed. A story of faith. Because without faith, what are we? If we don't have belief in a creator and that which is sacred, what are we? You know, I
Word.
hope that as I walk across my yard from my shop tonight, that I don't step in a hole, right? Actually, I have faith that I can walk across my yard tonight and not worrying about stepping in a hole, and I got her done, and I'm back in the house.
Yeah.
So there is a difference in perspective, and that words
Mm.
are more important than we know. So, and words get down to your thoughts, and like I said, we must be able to bring this in touch with this, and when we're able to blend those, then we can walk the red road. And this is something I preach of Rainbow Warriors. So I'm always doing little meme posts of Rainbow Warriors. This is a path. These are things that we focus on. So little tidbits. And then I have some longer ones. People don't like to always read long memes, but I try to put them on a graphic. Through the Eyes of a Shaman, Last Cry, um, Passing Thought. Each one of them has a different thing. Through the Eyes of the Shaman is a continuation of thought based on the book. And I call it, my post is called Eye of Shaman, but it's based from the book Through the Eye of Shaman by Ghost Wolf.
Yeah.
And it's leading you and me, because what I put down is things I need to remind me of.
Word.
Me
Everything I
of.
say is medicine for myself. Yes.
That's where it starts. It starts right here, because I can't do you or anybody else any good unless I am secure with me and my.
Mm.
So, like I said, why did I have to get this old before I started understanding?
Something, I don't know. But it's divine. Would
You,
you share a bit about what it means? What is the Red Road? Not everybody is familiar with that.
the red road is honoring that which is sacred, respect for all living, period. This is the path of the ancestors of the Native Americans that came from the Maya. And it is a respect for all. And by the way, there's all been many discussions on this one called Jesus.
Mm.
If you're Christian, don't jump off of here after you hear this next sentence.
This is an open portal so we could have these conversations.
No one never walked this earth by the name of Jesus. Why can I say that? Because there was not a J in the in the Aramaic alphabet.
Yeah.
However, there's 20 some other names. Now, with that being said, and knowing that history and titles got changed, it wasn't to in the 1540s, when the Gutenberg Bible was created, that the first time that name Jesus was used.
Oh.
However, there is 18 years of his life that was left out of the scripture. There are many prophecies of the one that came here and walked among us.
Mm.
And this is woven into Hopi and others. Now, there's some tribes and some of the young crowd, they got blinders on. Oh, no, that don't exist. No. Wait a minute. We're not talking about a church organized religion that says you are in this box. We're talking about someone that was teaching a way of life, a
Yeah.
way to live in balance with all. And I personally believe that he was here. And the reason why I can say I personally believe, in 1929, the Smithsonian, if you know a little bit about this, they were checking out some of the caves in New Mexico, Arizona, and Nevada. Also, there's caves in Ohio, Alabama, that have Egyptian hieroglyphics. Giants. I know the keeper, the protector of the caves. One of the giants, the shortest one was 10 foot, a little over 10 foot. The tallest one was almost 19 foot. I have a pendant that came off of one of them. He was 14 foot 10 inches.
Wow. Yeah.
Bone, a piece of bone was taken, and fabric was taken, and they were carbon dated 5,500 to 5,200 years. They were
Mm.
here. Those hieroglyphics and things just didn't magically appear out of nowhere.
Yeah.
It wasn't the language of the Atlanteans or the Mayans or any of those cultures. So how did they get here? Unless because of these findings, the United States government put a block, and you can't even fly a drone around these caves. It's against the law. The federal government will come after you. Why? Because it will prove the history taught in our school is a lie. Just like
Isn't it?
Christopher Columbus discovered America.
They tell us it's a lie, and then they tell us to just repeat after them.
Yeah, to me, this is real today. This is real today. It will be real in your life tomorrow too. So
Yeah, no, it is. It's well, and I'm glad you wove that in, because when I've done my studies is trying to understand, and there is this common relation in all these religions, and how, the stories told and woven. And then I was in New Mexico, and I got to go to the chapel, where they don't know how it was created, and so they were saying it could be was there. Man, I lost my thought of what it's called, but really cool place. He basically there It was created in private, and they don't know how it is constructed because there was no nails or anything used, so it was very divine. And that's where it just falls right into place with you. I wouldn't doubt it. It's so much magic in our world that we've been confused with. And so, yeah, Mary Magdalene's been one I've been learning about also, and her, their divine union. And it's like there's some truth in all these stories. It's
sure.
just for us to discern, and that's where we have different roads we walk too. You get a choice if we want to stick on the red road. It takes a lot of dedication.
And back to your question on the Red Road, Native American.
Mm,
We see our path through the eyes of our ancestors. But being a Rainbow Warrior Peace Chief, I am now able to experience and talk to people of other nationalities around the world, and able to look at the commonalities that
mm,
we all share. Here, our sacred animals, the eagle and bear and the wolf, and buffalo, and some of the others, it's the whale and various other things and certain types of birds. But then you look, there's a commonality, a spiritual, sacred, woven thread that connects all that's living. And to think there's, how do I want to say this? To think there's not a divine magical order, one would have to almost be insane, because
yeah.
the odds are so far beyond that it's beyond like winning the lottery. For example, Hopi land, and let's go all the way over through the world to the Dalai Lama to Tibet.
Thank you. Yeah.
You drove a spear through the center of the earth. From Hopi land, it would come straight out in Tibet. Now,
Wow.
that hasn't got to the wow factor.
I'm
The wow
still.
factor, the Hopi word for sun is the same Tibetan word for moon. The Tibetan word for sun is
Oh,
the
wow.
Hopi word. Yin, yang, positive, negative. There's a balance. And when you're able to look at all these commonalities and see these things coming together. And then we haven't even begun to get into stuff like Atlas 3I.
Oh man, if you have time, I'll stay here all day. Um,
That falls under a number of prophecies.
wait, before we go there, there was
The blue
something
katina, the
that.
red katinas, and the signs in the sky, the great shaking, and those.
Hmm. Hmm.
We know that 3I Atlas is way beyond anything that of an asteroid.
It's the
Why?
Galactic Federation. It's our people.
It's it is because it doesn't have space dust coming from it. It has rays as if something of energy that is passing. The things that are flying beside are they're flying beside it. And they're like in formation, like a squadron formation. And some of those things are big as our ships. But then 3I Atlas is what, 2 miles wide and as long as Long Island. So General Baker, which I found quite interesting, I love him. He was advanced radionics, and he worked at some little place called Area 51. And he's Christian. And we were having a conversation a couple of weeks ago about Atlas. And he said, Mel, what if it is the biblical New Jerusalem returning to earth? We know that there's way beyond us and multi-universes. So to think a ship that size, in the biblical sense, it could house 144,000.
Man,
So we find tidbits here and tidbits there and tidbits over there that somehow seem to fit and to weave. We're living in some of the most exciting times of Earth history. And some of these things relating to this tie into Hopi prophecy, but it also ties into the sleeping prophet, Edgar Cayce. And Edgar Cayce saw and spoke of these times. So between now and the last of January, I think there will be some changes. We know these communications are in place. We know that they are receiving signals from the earth, from in the ocean. We know there are platforms. We know there are mountains rising. We know there are places that ships can come and fit into as if a landing mechanism. So, are we that naive to think that Creator only created a human species with all the other species that's on the earth, but a human species? And he didn't say, "Hey, let's have some fun to create some Martians and let's create some Palladians." And but then when we start looking at our histories, we find, where did the Cherokee think they came from?
I'm a
The
Palladian.
Pleiades. And they came to a center point. They came to a center point in Tennessee. Where's the sacred ground now that's now sovereign ground? Tanasi, where I did that ceremony, where the grandmother said we did the eighth fire ceremony. The Kodak said that is the portal point. Not that I know anything about these, but everybody has their field of expertise. And when I start looking at these, and I start looking at and discerning and taking a look at, it starts making sense. And man has gotten so crazy. We're at that point in prophecy that we're ready to fall off the cliff. And I've got some documents and things from the Hopi that's never been made public. And the grandmothers, I have a book that is far from being complete. It was what Ghost Wolf was working on when he got hit by lightning.
Hmm.
And it's going to be called Echoes from the Future. I have the artwork over here that came out of the Wolf Lodge and had it cleaned and digitized. So it will be the front cover of the book, and it is Grandmothers with Their Hoops. And the subtitle of this is Can You Hear Us Now?
Oh
And
wow.
this is some of the final prophecies of things to come in the future. So these are things that Ghostwolf was working on with the Prophecy Keepers. I have original tapes over here, cassette tapes that are very old of
Oh.
Prophecy Keepers and Hopi language, and with their first interviews with Coast to Coast AM and
Ah,
those.
I
So
love it.
all the original tapes. I am so blessed. And I have literally thousands of pages of documents that I'm slowly going through and learning. So sooner or later, I'm going to have somebody in here that I can trust to help me sort out
Yeah.
and a decent file system, because Wolf didn't have a file system.
It's a new era. We got different technologies introduced to us again.
But I will say this, the things that he wrote about in the 90s, we are living this day.
That's why it's so profound. Oh, like I feel it. I had just exactly that's what I'm saying is that I've been empowered to open this circle because I myself found myself like, perpetuating opposite of what I was actually intending and how easy it is to be, like yeah, and so it's like, oh, refresh, take that breath. Well, talk to the people, remember, so it's good, beautiful teachings. Yeah.
I have enjoyed my time with you, and hopefully we covered some grounds that might help awaken people and make them to become more aware of the things that are in their lives, to be able to honor the sacred within them. And we all have that. We're all, if you go to the Christian teachings, our body's a temple. All right, we're not of this body. We
Mm,
are spiritual image made in the image of Creator.
yes.
And I always kind of ticked off people, and they thought I was being a smart ass when I used to say, I can do anything, I can heal myself. And they said, oh no, you got to go to God, you got to do this. And then I was on a movie set, and they asked me a question about manifestation, and they wanted to know, do you need to go to Creator, to God, to manifest something? And I said, no, because he said, anything I do, you can do greater.
Mm,
And faith believing.
yes. That's the hard
That's, see, we start looking at that when we believe and we understand. When we had Helene come through,
mm, yeah.
I got the repercussions of Helene, and I broke my right leg in 3 places. And I went to the doctor, and they told me I had to have surgery, and that my ankle was shattered, and they was gonna have to put in plates and
Metal. Yeah.
all of that. I was in a bad motorcycle accident, which is in my book, and I was laid up 8.5 months. I laid in the hospital for about 2.5 weeks. Uh, that they didn't even do anything to my leg because they didn't know if they was going to amputate it or what, because of the blood clots and all.
Mm,
Somehow or another, I've always had faith, and that's what my book is all about: faith, believing, no matter what adversities, no matter what crap, losing my business, losing. I lost my home that my grandfather on my mother's side built, and he built
mm,
it for a Chevrolet dealer back in the 20s. I mean, it was beautiful, 2.5 acre pond in the front yard, guest cottage, in the whole 9 yards. I lost it all and ended up in a used mobile home and starting all over again.
yeah. There's a
But,
plan.
but, but, I didn't sit there and say, oh God, Lord Jesus, what am I going to do now? Oh, I'm so screwed. I went and looked at what I could do to go make some money and eat that week and make next week, and how I could do something on top of that too, because if we don't, then who is? So when I went to the doctor in my leg, he told me I had to have this, and I knew my ankle had been already messed up and all that before, my knee knocked out and messed up my hip and tore up the coccyx, and my vertebrae in my neck and all those little things. And I said, doctor, straighten it out. Do the x-rays and pull it straight and put me in a cast. Do it tight.
Mm.
And I knew there was some swelling, and we talked, and he gave me, I don't like pain pills either. And I think I got 8 pain pills, and I think I still have 5 of them from a year and a half, a year ago.
Yeah.
And so he put me in a cast, and I wore that cast for 5 weeks. And I went back and they did x-rays, and the bone had grown but not complete. And he says, you really need that in there. I said, but doctor, it's growing straight, isn't it? He said, yes. I said, put me another cast on. I talked to the grandmothers. I talked to a toxicologist, and they told me what I needed to be taking to help my bones, to help my healing.
Mm.
Herbs and all the things that you do,
Yeah.
knowledge is power. Dig, dig, dig. Don't, pity parties don't accomplish anything.
Thank you.
So I went back, and it was coming together. So then we went to a boot, and I wore it a few weeks and a little leg brace. Had an appointment to go see the doctor, and my appointment got canceled, and it put off for 2 weeks. Go back into the doctor's office. He said, how you doing? And I started doing a little skip dance. I said, a whole lot better than you. And he looked at me. I said, I heard you messed up your hip and couldn't walk. I said, hey, brother, this is my book. Maybe you might need to read this. So my book is not that thick. It's my story, and it's my journey being hit by lightning and the various things that I've done. And I've been successful at a few things in my life and done quite well at those things. So it's a story that I hope that when people read it, that it makes them reflect on their lives and see themselves. And I left a few pages blank at the very back. And I always tell people when I'm speaking, when you read and you got to place a chapter in that book, go to that back page and write one line that relates to that event in your life.
Mm.
And I've had one lady mention this morning in the medicine circle, We're the Medicine, that she's read my book several times. I had a guy with the Federal Aviation Commission down in Texas. He said, I've read your book twice and I'm reading it again. And I'm like, excuse me? He says, every time I go back and see something, it makes me relate. And so I'm sitting there listening to these guys, and I'm like, thank you, Jesus. At least I did something right. It resonated, you know? It
Yeah,
was that frequency that opened up that within them.
that is so good. Well, I look forward to reading that. Thank you. And then we'll have to come back and I'll want to spend more time with you going into that because it's like the unfortunately, I wish it didn't take lifetimes to learn from our elders, man.
Yeah, true.
I'm going to try to fast forward it in these portals, though. You're doing a real good job of getting deep. I love these. Yeah. Yes. Well, so I would love the opportunity to chat with you again when I read that book. And then I know you have a song that we would like to try to share. I hope it's going to work, but to close out our circle, do you want to say an official prayer? I know some people don't like to prayer on video, so totally up to you.
I don't have any problem talking to Creator.
Well, thank you.
Great Spirit, Creator, we come before you today, and those that are listening to this, each has their own needs that need to be met. And I hope that you give them insight as the eagle has given us sight, that we don't fall into the pitfalls, but that we're able to see past and we don't get into that rut, but we be as the wolf, that we walk with courage and that we don't do harm and we keep our focus on those things. And for Brother Bear, the strength, the protector of family, that we walk the path in the things that we see gives us the strength, the courage, and the energy that we can walk this path. In Buffalo, that we keep our thoughts on those things that are sacred, that we see above and don't fall into the pitfalls. Let us see as the eagle and keep our mind on those things spiritual. And in that, each and every one of us here get our lesson of what we need, no matter what it is we're doing here. That one frequency, that one healing, that oneness of mind when the we comes together as one. With that, Creator, I give gratitude. I give thanks.
Oh, Widow, thank you. That's so beautiful. So you have these rocking speakers. You want to try to see if we could get the Rainbow Warrior song to play? And if not, you guys can find it on YouTube on his channel, and I'll get it on some of it. I'll get it out there for sure. But as long as we don't get blocked.
Well,
You own the copyrights.
it's my song and I own it.
When they flag it, make sure you approve it, please.
You don't have to worry about that. All right, Rainbow Warriors. I wrote the words and I used AI on the music. And by the way, I used to run a recording studio and production studio. So we can talk about aliens and all that another time.
I'm looking forward to sketching this again and again.
2009 and 2010, some of that's in the book. I was shooting with some people on stuff for Unsolved Mysteries. So I was all over Arizona and the other places, and I experienced things that
out of this world. It's outrageous.
That's
I love playing out there.
So I did two versions. I'm just going to play my pop version, but I did this and I did a reggae version. So, well, the Rainbow Warriors, we're from all over the world. So, everybody's got their own little beat and their own little tempo, but hopefully, but the words is what all this is about. So, whoops, hold on. I'll start it over as soon as I can get to the my volume control here. All right. Come on, volume control.
Jamming.
Quickly. All right, let's see. Hopefully I got it this time.
Restoring the land with every heartbeat. We sing our song together as one, where we all belong. From the shadows we emerge with pride, Rainbow Warriors walking side by side. We are the Rainbow Warriors, strong and free, carrying the light of our ancestry, healing the earth with every step we take, and we rise as one for our children's sake. In the dance of the wind, hear our call, echoing stories of the ancient song. Roots intertwined in the sacred ground. Listen closely now, hear the hope abound. From the fires of our ancestors, we ignite the flame. In the heart of the world, we reclaim our name. With colors of the rainbow, we paint our skies. Awakening spirits, opening eyes. We are the Rainbow Warriors, strong and free, carrying the light of our ancestry, healing the earth with every step we take, and we rise as one for our children's sake. So let the drums echo, let the music play, feel the rhythm of nature guiding our way. With every beat, the world comes alive. In unity and love, together we thrive. Now the future is brighter. Join hands with me as we dance through the night of vibrant tapestry. We speak for the water, we speak speaks for the trees, for the creatures that roam and the gentle breeze, for the elders who taught us, for the youth that inspire. Rainbow warriors igniting the fire in the circle of life. We're sharing the grace, celebrating our heritage, every shade, every face. The ancestors guide us through storms we weather. Together we rise, no matter the tether. We are the rainbow warriors, strong and free, carrying the light of our ancestry. Healing the earth with every step we take, and we rise as one for our children's sake. Here's to the tribes, nations, into the sea of the substance, the night, gang of the mind. Oh, we rise, we unite.
I didn't tell it to replay.
I love it. It's beautiful. It brought tears to my eyes. And I'm just so grateful that you've opened a container also, because there are many people that feel that seed that's, ready to just be watered and nurtured. And we come from every different background. And so thank you for opening a container so people feel welcome and they're safe and protected, understanding, that we're all walking with the one of nature. We're here.
We're here in this time because we chose and we're chosen to be here.
Yes.
That I believe. And those that don't believe in reincarnation, it don't matter where it comes from that. But we are in a time of total change, and I can't think of a more exciting time to be on Mother Earth. We
It is.
are entering, and as in prophecy, the fifth world and the new earth.
Welcome. Yeah, thank you for being part of this journey with me, and I'm so delighted. I look forward to coming back with you, and we'll keep talking. Everybody out there, go visit Mel's page. And is it Mondays or Tuesdays you have your We Are the Medicine Circle?
Where the medicine is typically every morning. Speak every Tuesday morning on We're the Circle, and actually, I and Michelle are going to be a little wild cards tomorrow, because there's a group out in California, and they're doing a sweat lodge and preparing for all of that. So they won't be in the circle. So Michelle and I are going to be there, and I'm going to share the story about the start of my journey, and this little bundle was what started it all. And before we go, I'm gonna let's see, Ghost Wolf's books. They're all
Yeah.
on Amazon. By the way, my book is on Amazon as well. But this is the Hopi Mayan bundle. White buffalo. There's bear. There's horse. A little bit of everything is part of this sacred bundle. And by the way, one other historical fact: something happened when Ghost Wolf passed. This never happened before. The shaman buried Ghost Wolf in the Mayan crypt.
Wow. Wow.
So that energy flows, and I got to have some good conversation with one of the Mayans that was raised in the temple back in October, and the magic just continues. And when you start seeing that, it makes you much more appreciative. But the Chanupa is in here. It has all the original Mayan engravings on the pipe. It is just magnificent. And to be chosen to be the protector and the carrier of this at this time. And so this in itself is fulfilling the Hopi prophecy. And now around the world, this is being referred to, instead of the Hopi Mayan bundle, it is now being referred to as the Rainbow Warrior bundle. So nations
Good
involved,
medicine.
and they're talking about leaders coming to America to be part of the ceremony that we do together. So
It's so beautiful.
thank you so much to let me share my story, and I hope that it will help motivate somebody. And don't put limitations on yourself. I think one of the biggest mistakes, and probably one of the biggest sins that we do, is putting limitations on ourselves. And with that, you got to argue your limitations, stay there. So
Yeah.
don't limit that.
Be a
But
rebel, be savage, wild, and free.
there you go, honey.
go tell them that's what I'm trying to get across these days. Yeah, well, I appreciate your wise words, and I definitely want to encourage everyone, go follow you, tune into the meeting or in the group in the mornings, and then I would love to dive in more about all of this.
And
So
by the way, on my Facebook page, they will see the Zoom link and the key code for them to get in tomorrow morning. And we start at 8 o'clock Eastern each morning. And typically, we will have people there from Canada, across the U.S. We got people get up at 5 o'clock in the morning to participate, and sometimes we do multi feeds. And normally, there's people in there from New Zealand or Australia and various other places from time to time. So it's a good place for people to connect. And we have our prayer, our meditation on different things, and then we have their takeaways where everybody can participate and tell what they learned, ask questions, and then typically after that we have a little free-for-all open session that anybody can talk about and ask questions on anything.
I
So
love it. Well, and that's the serendipitous part of connecting with you. I'm not sure how long I've followed your page, but I saw your post about it and just happened to pop in. The first thing you said is, as the chief of Rainbow Warriors. I was like, what? I have to ask this man for an interview. So thank you for dedicating some time with me today. I know it's precious, and I'm really grateful for all your great words, and thank you for your service. Oh, that's what I wanted to mention just before we end, is how honorable it is to be, given that duty to carry the pipe. And many people look at the pipe as it can be glamorized and glorified and whatnot, but the real honor of having to hold that pipe every day and pray for us with that, and the people out there that feel called by the pipe, is honor that smoke and honor all of that. And I'm so grateful because it's you guys that are helping us as the pipe holder. So
and,
thank you.
and the carrier, and I only do use that at ceremony. And
Right.
I I had no idea the sacredness, working on Sitting Bull's pipe and helping restore the stems on that some years back. And I've got another one here right now that I'm working on and redoing the stem. And this is another beautiful piece that came in. And this one, if you can see, is inlaid with lead.
Wow.
And this, I've talked to a few archaeologists trying to trace it back. This appears to be somewhere in the 1850s, 1860s era, and we're in this plains, and I've been trying to find the tribe that it came from because I want to make sure it gets back home, but gets back home in proper. So these are, all these little things are magical and how they come together. But this pipe bundle here, very quickly, I had a chief refer to this as the Holy Grail of peace pipes in the Americas. And one of them, the chief's being an archaeologist teaching at universities, he asked me if he could take photos of just the pipe so that as he's giving his lectures, he could tell about it in the history. And I gave him permission. And then I placed it in his hands, and he just stood there in total silence. And then he says, "You have no idea what an honor it is to be able to just hold this and feel this and know where it came from."
Power.
So there's power there, there's spirit, there's frequency, there's energy.
Yeah.
And if we
Medicine, good medicine, and it's holy. Then use it. You like if that's an honor to be embraced with that, or to embrace that, because it is very divine.
Thank you, Millie. Thank you so much for your time.
You've been quite a pleasure. I look forward to doing it again, and we'll see you until then. Own your dreams. Many blessings.
To you.
Oh, we rise, we unite, from the mountains to the sea, warriors for the love, you and me. We are the new tribe of the earth, connecting our spirits, remembering our worth.